Okay, hi. So today is going to be a full day wear test of this foundation right here. It's the Wet n Wild Photofocus foundation. This is not going to be a complete first impression because I have used this before. This was basically my go-to foundation all winter last year, but I have not used it since last winter. So we're going to use it today and we're going to see how it holds up on my oily skin. We're going to see how the coverage is for my acne prone skin. My skin is gross right now. So yeah, we're going to use it and we're going to see how it holds up throughout the day. Let's get started. So when I do a full face of makeup, a lot of times I'll do my eye makeup first, but I'm not going to do like a heavy eye look today. So we are actually going to start with the foundation. I have the shade Porcelain. So this is the applicator. It's kind of a weird applicator. It's like a flat plastic. It's not a doe foot. So we are just going to put this on. This is kind of a lot I put on, but whatever. It's like under $6 at Walmart or off Amazon. I love this foundation because it does photograph really well, so you're not going to get that like flashback. And I'm going to start working this in with my beauty blender. I forgot how good the coverage is on this. So the more you dab it in, the more the coverage kind of goes away. As you can see, you can still see some redness there. You can still see some redness on this cheek as well. But personally, this is actually how I like my liquid foundation to go on, where it just like evens out my skin tone, because I like to go over my liquid foundation with powder foundation. So I always get my last bit of coverage with powder, which seems to work well with my oily skin. Here it is after just the liquid foundation, about a medium coverage. Oh, before we started this video, I had already moisturized and I had already primed. Even if you have oily skin, make sure you moisturize. We are going to set this down with a loose setting powder. And whenever I set my liquid foundation, I always go in with like pushing motions. Stippling, is that what it's called? Yeah, I think this color is a tiny bit white for me right now, but we will warm up my face. So this is how we're looking after a layer of loose. I'm actually using banana powder today, so it has a really, really light pigment. Now let's go in with a powder foundation. I'm going to use my Mineral Fusion in Neutral 2. I stayed up late last night watching the Mike Tyson fight. It was pretty cool to see Mike Tyson fight. And then I also was excited to see Jake Paul do his fight, and I was hoping that NBA basketball player would destroy him. And I would have lost all my money if I would have bet on that. And by the way, just to make this clear, whenever I use liquid foundation, I always go over it with a powder foundation. I never just use a liquid foundation and then set it with setting powder and then that's it. Like, that's just not how I do my makeup because I have such oily skin. Now that we got that last bit of coverage, I'm gonna go in with another layer of loose powder. Like I said, I'm using a banana powder, so this does have a tiny bit of color. When my skin is having a breakout, like it is right now, I do prefer using like a banana powder over a totally translucent setting powder just because it gives that tiny bit of extra coverage. We have our even skin tone for the day now. I'm going to take another powder foundation that's just a tad darker and just kind of bronze my face a little bit. Just warm up the face a little bit. And when I do this, I like to especially work it around my cheeks because that's where the sun would hit the most. Nose and forehead. I'm gonna do my brows and my eyes next, so I will do that and just kind of speed through. And then we will finish with our contour and blush. Alright, so yeah, just a super simple eye look. Just one kind of light pink eyeshadow and some mascara today. Just a tad of contour. Okay, before I go in with blush, I'm going to go in with a tiny bit more of loose powder and just kind of touch up my T-zone where I get oily the most. I'm going to go in with this Ciate London. Ciate? I don't know how you say it. Looks like this. Shade Date Night. I've never used this before, so let's see. It's supposed to be an illuminating blush. Ooh, this is pretty. Yeah, I really like this. Well, that's pretty. I like it. And that's basically going to be my makeup for the day. We are going to finish this off with not a setting spray, but like a misting spray, just to kind of soak everything up. All right. Well, my hair isn't done, so it might be a tiny bit deceiving, but here's the makeup for today then. All right. I am going to get on with my life for the day, and I will check in a couple hours and we will see how the foundation is holding up. I've had this foundation on for about 2 hours, maybe a little longer than 2 hours. As you can see, my oils are starting to come through, especially around my nose and this area. Foundation overall is looking pretty decent though. I'm not going to blot my face or touch it up or anything. We're just going to let it ride for today. If I were going out or had to go do something in the public, I'd probably do some blotting and maybe a little powder touch up. And also, side note, this blush, this is like my new favorite blush. Alright, I will check back in a couple hours. Alright, so it's 5 o'clock p.m. and here's how we're looking so far. Getting more oily as we go. I did at some point take my brush and do a couple of these. I'm not going anywhere, so I'm not going to waste one of my blotting sheets on my oily face today, but yeah, here's a closer look. Starting to break down around my nose, which really is more about my oily skin than anything else. I have never had a foundation that can last for hours and hours and hours on my nose area just because my skin is so oily. But overall, the foundation is holding up pretty nicely. If I had to choose between the e.l.f. liquid foundation and the Wet n Wild, I would choose this every single time. It has a little bit better coverage. It wore a little better. Now, if I had stayed on top of my oil a little better today, it wouldn't be breaking up quite as much around my nose. And I'm going to check in one more time before I go to bed. I think if you have oily skin, you know that there isn't going to be a magic foundation that you just don't get oily with. Like, you have oily skin, it's going to come out eventually, but you can learn some tricks with your foundation routine, how you prep your skin before you even put foundation on. I'm definitely going to be trying some new techniques in some other videos. For the purpose of today's video, we kept it pretty basic. We're oily, but overall it's holding up nicely. I will check in one more time before I go to bed. Alright, so it is 9:30 p.m. here for the last check-in. So overall, my skin is pretty oily at this point, but this is to be expected. Like, this is just how my skin is. We do have some settling in, like, my baby fine lines that I have. But overall, I mean, the foundation stood its ground. Overall, like I said, under $7 or whatever. I would say this is a good foundation, especially if you're on a budget. One of my things that I literally cannot live without are the oil blotting sheets. If I would have used one, my skin would not be nearly as oily as it is right now. As you saw earlier, it's more like a medium coverage, but you can build on it too. Like, I just choose to go with a medium coverage and finish with powder. You can definitely build on this and probably build it up to high coverage. I've heard a lot of other YouTubers and people that I watch say good things about this. Yeah, I like this foundation. I'm going to be trying other foundations. I want to try the L'Oreal Infallible and I want to try the Pro Matte version and see how they compare. Definitely subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching this far. I am going to get back to watching Sons of Anarchy, and then I'm going to eat a huge plate of Thanksgiving leftovers for dinner. Oh, and ring the bell next to the subscribe button so you get a notification every time I post a video. Stay tuned for more. I'm on a mission to try all the foundations and see how they wear on this oily mess. Peace out. Bye.